give us a summary of what happened in the last few classes, like 4-line sentences.
Yeah. No, so in the first adhyaya, we saw that the boy, Nachiketa has gone, and he looks at what his father Uddalaka is doing, that he's giving away old cows. That is not dana. That's not how you earn punya, and so he's trying to tell him that's not the right thing to do. But his father gets angry, and then he says, "I'm going to give you to death," and so that the whole journey starts from there, where he goes to, or at least he has the vision of going to Yamapuri. And there, Yama is not there for 3 days, and then he comes back, and Nachiketa doesn't take the food and all of that, and he comes back. When Yama comes back after 3 days, he gives them 3 boons, and so one, he says, "Let my father be shanta chitta, like let him be peaceful, and then let him lose anger, and then be loving towards me like before." And then second one was so it's called Swaraagni Vidya, and which was our motivation to do Brhati Sahasra. So we did Yagna. I mean, you probably don't know that. Last year in April 14th, we did that. It's called Brhati Sahasra. With the Yagna Vedi was built with 360 bricks, not just the rectangle. It's a bird shaped with wings. So, and it's the first time in the US that it's been done. So we brought the priest from Udupi, and then we did that, and it's almost a 1-day kind of event. And and that is the Brhati Sahasra is actually related to the second question, where Nachiketa is asking, tell me about the knowledge of the agni of the Swarga, in the sense that, and which brings the ritual part and the spiritual part together. So ritual is not separate from spiritual. So then it is Brhati Sahasra is and it is also there in the Aitareya Upanishad, where 360. What does 360 represent? So 360 represents the 360, not the bones, but I forget what
Nadis.
Not the nadis. Ligaments. There are 360 ligaments in the body. So 360 ligaments in the body, and the agni is in the heart. So that is it's called as the agni inside the body, right? That's adhyatma agni. So in the outside world, the adidaiva or the adibhuta agni is in the physical fire with the 360 bricks, and then adidaiva agni and adidaiva yajna is the 360 days. So each day is a brick, and sun is the fire. So basically what Yama is saying is no ritual is separate from spiritual, and no ritual which we do outside is separate from what it is, its representation inside. So the representation inside is the most primary main one, and its outside representation is a secondary one. So all of the rituals and all of those things are supposed to be like, when you are doing outside, then you should start looking at it inside, because what the yajna outside is also representative of the yajna inside, right? So that is what. And then
you should have inner clarity first.
Inner clarity. It's not first, because we are all out in being, right? It's outside first, and when outside, it's like learning alphabets. So you learn alphabets by rote, and then actually what happens is rote learning. Then you're not going to ask why A comes first, why not B comes first. You learn first. Whatever is given, your multiplication tables, your alphabet table, all of those things, you just learn first without questioning. And then after rote learning comes the actual asking of meaning. Otherwise, if you start with meaning, then you'll never do anything. So that is what. So everything is built on the foundation of physical and rote. And then once that is established, that is when you turn inward. So here it's like you are looking at outside, and when you are looking outside, when that is established, then with that foundation you can look inside. You cannot start with looking inside. And even if you look at the development, it's the babies and we are all outside beings first, and then our vision, as we start learning, that vision turns inward. And last class I was talking about the meaning of Atma. Like there are several meaning of Atma, right? So one is there's Pratyak Atman is what the first mantra talks about. So Atma, when you're a baby, Atma is the body. And in Sanskrit, Atma also means the Deha. So then the Atma in Sanskrit also means the mid body. So if you look in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it talks about Shiraha, Dakshina Pakshaha, Uttara Pakshaha, Atma, Pucha. So it talks about 5, the man divided into 5 in the Panchakosha. So even man is divided into 5, head, right hand, left hand, the limbs, the legs, and the mid body. And so mid body is called Atma. So that is another meaning of Atma is mid body, where heart is. And then Atma is Ahankara. Because we are in that stage where for majority of all of us, Atma means the idea of me, I. It's
small I.
Yeah, the small I, right? Then Atma is Jiva. Jivatma becomes Jiva. That's what is called as self-realization. But again, that is not still the end. Atma means Antaryami Atma, Paramatma. So that is the final Atma. So these are all the 5 different Atmas that is there. And it is kind of evolutionary, right? So you start with identifying yourself with the body, and then identifying with your ego, which is where everybody is stuck in those two. And then, but actually self-realization, that is the Atma, and then God realization, that's the Paramatma. So that is the thing. And so there, it is like the physical Agni, outside is what we first do, Bahiragni. Then Antaragni is how, that with that foundation of outside, you jump into inside, which not many people do. That's what the first mantra says, that it's only a few that actually look inward. Otherwise, everybody is following outside, right? So that, and that's the third question which Nachiketa asked, that Yama delays until now, and now he's actually starting to answer that question, is initially simply Nachiketa asks, some say there is, some say there is not after death. I want to know what that is. And so it is. If you look at the commentaries, various many millennia commentaries, the initial thing was, this is like, is there something that extends beyond death? So Nachiketa is asking that, is there a jiva that lives beyond death? Is death the final thing? But if you look at the whole context of this, there is no meaning for him asking about Swaraagni Vidya when there is no, if the jiva dies with body, where is Swaraagni? Right? And also he is already, he has already actually died and gone to Yamapuri. The whole question of Yama being there, what is Yama when the finality is death? So none of those things make any sense. If that was a question, right? So it was not, the question was not that. The question is, some say there is, in samsara, we are stuck in samsara, and therefore there is a need for God to get out of samsara. There's a need for God to get out of samsara. But once you have moksha, do you really need God? What is the need of God when there is? And so that Nachiketa's question that he clarifies even now, he actually clarifies now, what he's saying is that some say we need God after death. Some say we don't. What is your final, what is the nischaya? What is that finality? What is that real answer to this question? To which Yama says, no, this is... even the devatas were confused in the beginning. Even they did not know that, again, the concept of devatas will not come if there is no life after death. So, and so you're saying that, even they did not know at that time, and they came to know. So it's not something which is easy knowledge. Therefore, ask something. And so he tempts him with, you ask for wealth, ask for kingdoms, ask for all of the comforts of life. I'll give you everything. Why do you want to know? You're a small boy. He's still 8 years old boy, 8, 9 years old boy. Why do you want to know this? And then he tempts with all of this, and Nachiketa says, no, and then he gives the reason for all of that. And we have seen that Shvabhava, these are all, that means comforts are there and then they go away. Whatever you're asking, you're tempting me with, one day it's going to go away. And actually I will be losing my senses, because I will be so indulgent in that it is actually going to destroy me. So your boon is actually a curse to me. So I don't want that. I really want to know this answer to this question. Tell me this. What is the nature of God, basically? What is the nature of God? I want to know more. And then Yama is so impressed that this boy at this age has so much of conviction that he starts saying that, he tells that the majority of the people in the world, there are choices. There are choices. We have the choices between comfort and long-term gain. And everybody is stuck in comfort. So it's even if you look at the what the first mantra is saying, first and second mantra says, Yama is saying that majority of humanity is stuck in the now, in the now, in the comfort loop, and none of them think about going beyond the senses and actually looking at the finality. So he's saying that the now is kind of it's volatile. There's happiness, there is sadness, sorrow, everything. It comes and goes, and it's like signal and noise, right? So we are distracted by the noise, and we are distracted by drama. It's like we are like almost engrossed in the drama, and we don't ask the real questions. So majority of the people are like that. They are all stuck, because it is very easy to be pulled in by the senses, because senses always go to that which is comfortable, or go away from that which is painful. So what Yama is saying is, there are two kinds of decisions that we make at all times. One is whether I go towards comfort and away from the pain, which is very easy. You don't need any tattva jnana for that. The other one is getting beyond this, beyond the senses, and thinking in the long term. Okay? Dhruvam adhruveshu na iha prarthayante is what he says. That is like, senses are it's noisy. Right? If there's a signal and noise, everything is full of noise. It's like going to social media and going through the pages. It doesn't lead you anywhere. It is basically keeping you in that loop and in the echo chamber and all of that stuff. You're not going to be led anywhere. But those who are really into it, they know that to get beyond all of this and then actually look at the final goal, which is unchanging. Because the noise is always changing. It tempts you with something, and then and the nature of indriya is Yama describes before. It's like in Krishna he says in the Gita, kamo anala. That means kama, desire, is anala. In Sanskrit, anala means fire, right? Anila is wind, anala is fire, right? So kamo anala means, and also etymologically, alam means satisfaction or enough. Analam means never enough. Anala buddhi means it's never enough. And why is fire called that? You throw anything in the fire grows. You never extinguish the fire by throwing things into it. It actually grows. So kamo anala means, kama is also like that. And now who was saying that? Who's that guy's name? Osho, right? So Osho follows that philosophy of ajivika. It's also very ancient. It was there even when Buddha was there. The ajivikas, what they say is, how do you get rid of temptations and desires? By completely indulging in it. Then at some point of time you will feel enough, and then you can go to. So Osho subscribes to that model. Indulgence leads to liberation. But it's a kamo anala. Indulgence leads to more indulgence, right? It's when sense becomes tempted. And also we know through you should make one video about that. He makes physician videos about all these different topics. Is they call that the hedonic treadmill, right? That which gives you pleasure now, you need more of it to give the same amount of pleasure. So it is not, you're on a treadmill and it's like never ending. You have to keep running to be at the same place.
The video on hedonic treadmill.
Oh, you already made it? Yeah. So it is like this, whatever is giving you some pleasure now, that you need a lot of it to get that same kind of small pleasure later on, because your senses and whole of your body has become accustomed to that thing. So the same thing with the drug addicts and all that, the more and more they're addicted, the more and more they want to be even in that same place. So that is what it is. So the indulgence is, that it is going to cause satisfaction and then liberation is, that is not a true philosophy. And what Yama is also saying that kama, and Nachiketa says that kama, indulgence is going to give you temporary satisfaction. And in the commentaries, they say it is like when you are very hungry, you eat food. Are you done for life? No, another 4 hours you'll get hungry again, another 4 hours you'll get thirsty again. So the thirst and hunger will not go away by eating and drinking. Right? Desire is like that. It doesn't go away by indulgence. So there is something, otherwise, where is the need for any kind of sadhana? Just indulge, there is no sadhana for indulgence. So even if you go to Brahma Sutras in the sadhana adhyaya, the third adhyaya, Brahma Sutra talks about this. It talks about why do you need sadhana? So there are all these arguments against it. So Vedavyasa takes all these arguments. First of the argument is death is final. If death is final, there is no need for sadhana. Right? So no, death is not final. There is something that continues after death. So there is need for sadhana. Then the other argument is everybody gets moksha. Now if everybody gets moksha, that means somebody who does sadhana also get moksha. If you don't do sadhana also, eventually you will get moksha, maybe some delayed. Then why don't you just enjoy here also and then enjoy there also, right? Vyasa says, no, sadhana is not for everybody. Only some people get the moksha, not everybody. So that means, see, all of the arguments against doing sadhana, one by one, Vyasa says, no, that is not the case, right? So to establish that sadhana is indeed required. And one of the things is indulgence leads to moksha. If indulgence led to moksha, then there is no need for sadhana. So even that question, so all of these are counter arguments against doing sadhana. So then, Vedavyasa talks about all of this and then establishes in a very, in your house, VSN, I told, right? There is only one work in the whole of Vedanta, in the Vedic literature, that is from first principles. And that is Brahma Sutras. So Brahma Sutras looks at, everything. And then comes up with first principle arguments of why this is, right? So it's actually, you need to study the Vedic literature. First, it's kind of like, learning ABCD and all of those things. And then going back to look deeper into it. So you need to learn all of the Vedic literature first, go to Brahma Sutras, and Brahma Sutras says, in this context, what is the actual meaning? In this context, what is the actual meaning? So you need to know what the context is. So you need to actually have learned it first. And then again, when you come back, then Vedavyasa establishes through first principles, what is actually, the right way to interpret. Because of the first principles. And I gave the example of the 12th chapter of the Gita, which is, we just completed yesterday, where, it's Bhakti Yoga. And why is Arjuna asking that, there are works which talk about Prakriti, giving moksha. And then, of course, Paramatma, Krishna himself gives moksha and he has already seen the Vishwarupa. What is this? What is the question about? So if you go back to, what the whole first principles, you have to think about first principles. First principles means what? He who is himself always liberated is the one that can give liberation. Nitya muktoho muktidaha. That is the principle. That means he who is already always liberated, always free, is the only one that can give freedom. Now from Brahma downwards, all of the devatas are in samsara. They are all born in samsara. So there are only two entities that are always free. There is no samsara to them. One is Paramatma. Krishna himself is, he's already beyond, right? In the Purusha Sukta, what does the Purusha Sukta say? He is beyond Dashangula, right? So Atyatishtat Dashangulam, right? So Ati Atishtat. That means Ati Atishtat means he sits above, beyond. Ati means beyond. Atishtat Dasha Angulam. So Dasha Angulam has two meanings. One is from your navel to your heart is 10 fingers. Like in your body. See, it's all, each one according to your fist measures your bodies. There is a whole Shastra of that. The Lakshana Shastra. Where your forehead has to be 4 fingers. Or if it's 5 fingers, what it is. And then your hand has to be this long. So your heart will be 10 fingers from your navel. Right? Those are the Lakshanas. If it is Ati Lakshana, that means there's, it is more, it is less. So there's all, if the ear is smaller, if ear is bigger, if the forehead is bigger. So there is a meaning to all of that. If somebody says, I am the Avatara, anybody can say. So there is 32 Lakshanas. That one Devata will have this Lakshana, and if you look at that Lakshana, if they have Lakshana, now if you say if they have plastic surgery, that and that is, but naturally they will have that Lakshana. That is a Devata Amsha or Devata Avatara. So that it comes, all of this Lakshana comes directly. So there's a whole Lakshana Shastra which talks about, the lips will be red. There's so many things. Your cheeks will be always reddish. Yeah. So all.
Skin will be blue.
No, skin is not blue. No, skin is actually no. It's not blue. See, there is only. Did you know that there are only 4 colors in if you go look at Vedanta, there are 4 colors. There's no 7 colors. There are 4 colors.
Base colors. 4 base colors.
4 base colors.
But in reality,
And it is no, frequency is there, no.
The frequency is there,
Yeah.
but the color perception is the sensory.
Correct.
So in reality, if you go beyond this sensory perceptions, there is no such thing as color in the world.
No, we don't know how, we don't have the sense for that frequency.
Because all these colors are.
Yeah, because we have to be in certain range. Yeah, that's true.
If you remove that, the whole world is like a dull, dark place.
No. Vedanta says there are 4 colors even beyond this.
Okay.
So in your Atma Sakshi, right, your mind's eye, right, you will see 4 colors. And that is the reason why Hiranyamaya Purushaha, they say, oh, God is, so it's not physical eyes that you see God. So then what is this golden color? What is this golden color of God? There has to be some color. So even when you are beyond body, the Sakshi Atma actually sees colors. But they see 4 colors. They can see 4 colors. Chaturvarna. Chaturvaranyam came from Chaturvarna. There are 4 colors. What is that? White is a color. Then red, Rakta. Shukla, Rakta. Pita, yellow. Neela, or Krishna,
Violet.
black.
Violet.
So white, red, yellow, black. These are the 4 colors that you see even beyond this. And in Vedanta, Neela, blue, black, all mean the same thing. When they say, oh, Neela Varna Purushaha, it's not blue color, it is dark black color. It's blue, it's blackish. Right? So Krishna was not blue.
It's black.
It is black. Black, it's like a... See, black is pitch black.
I mean, that's what they said. Dark toned people they used to call Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna Paksha.
Yeah. It is dark. It's darker, darkish. Not black. Black is like black. So he's like, that's why they call him Meghavarana. So rain-bearing clouds, if you look at it, it's kind of grayish black, right? That Varna. That was Krishna. And that's also Vishnu. And that is actually one of the Chaturvarnas. So any shades of blue, black, all of these things, violet, indigo, they all come under Krishna Varna.
So gold is like yellow?
Gold is yellow. Yeah, the Suvarna Varna is Suvarna Varnam, Harinim, like the Lakshmi, Suvarna Varna, like which one? There's no color after this means what? No. Are they seeing Lakshmi from coming out of Kshira Sagara in physical eyes? No. Then where are they seeing? With their Atma Sakshi. And in the Atma Sakshi, it looks golden. So Hiranya Varna also means shining. So yellow is like shining, gold, shining, kind of like that is what is. Of course, white is, white. And then red is also there. So that is also Chaturvarna, right? White is not skin color. That skin, see, if you look at all of Vedanta, there is no division of humanity based on skin color. There is nowhere, if you see, nowhere in any of the, in the Vedanta are they saying, look at this guy's skin color. In Mahabharata, where is skin color? No. Birth is there. If you look at Mahabharata and Ramayana, more in Mahabharata, where you were born is there. Right? Vidura, yeah, right? Vidura. And Karna, Karna, of course, charioteer is also not low born. Charioteer is also like a wife is Brahmana and like that is the Kshatriya Brahmana combination. So, but still, right? They're talking about born, they're not talking about skin color. Nowhere in, see, the skin color started with Europeans going everywhere and then, we are great because we have to find out, right? Some reason. So they were like, nose, pointed nose. We have that, they don't have it. So that is the difference, right? So if you look at the obsession with skin color and the features, the nose and all of those things, it emerged in the last couple of 100 years. But if you go to the Vedic literature, Puranas, Vedas, anywhere, there is no skin color, right? The only color they are talking about is the color of what? The color of Jiva. The color, Jiva color means what? The white color is Jnana. The red color is Kshatra, which is, fighting, bravery and warriors. The yellow color is trade. The black color is physical, manual, labor. So basically labor, and this is, and why, and these four, and I've explained this again and again, right? And I've never, because if you tell before, then you will be biased. So I said, okay, I'll give you knowledge, courage, knowledge, power, not courage, but we'll say power. Knowledge, power, wealth, and labor. So put them in a hierarchy. What is the most important and what comes after that? So, and this is even when I was doing Gita in the Chaturvarnyam, in the 4th chapter, I asked this question probably over 10 years ago. And then we were meeting at a school, and on the board I said, okay, which comes first? It says, knowledge comes first. Okay, knowledge comes first. Which comes next? Power comes next. Which comes next? Okay, wealth, then labor. Okay. Why did they have this kind of a hierarchy? Because, see, that which is above controls that which is below, but it should not be in the control of that which is below. So, they said, in the whole of thing, knowledge is free. Free as in, nobody control. No king will control knowledge. If you look, India is the only, civilization where no king wrote their own, Krishna Devaraya Purana, Shivaji Purana. There was nothing like that. Nobody has written a work where they called themselves God and created a Purana or an Upanishad in their name. It's probably now they'll put all these kind of Upanishads and Puranas now. But if you look at the olden days, has any king like Julius Caesar added 1 month, July, Augustus Caesar added August? Did anybody add anything into our calendar or any of the Vedanta work? Nobody added anything. Why? Because power is always below knowledge. That is kind of a given in our culture. Knowledge should always be free. Right? No rishis were under the control of the king. Unless they were, even if they were minister, they were independent charge minister. So they were advisors. Not like when you say minister, they were advisors to the king who would, unbiased advice to the king, but never, the king would never impose. Right? At least, in the dharmic sense. But if you look at Vidura, look at how independent Vidura is like a example of how an advisor to a king should be. He was never afraid of Dhritarashtra. He would say the things like it is to his face. And then Dhritarashtra would get angry and say, get out. Because he would say things that was like with Dhritarashtra did not want to hear about Duryodhana, how he is spoiling Duryodhana and how this is not right and all of those things. But then he will say, oh, Vidura, he'll send messengers and his soldiers to bring him back. I'm missing Vidura. Right? Whole of Vidura Niti starts like that, right? He's very tense because Sanjaya has gone to. This is before the war. Sanjaya has gone to the Pandavas for Sandhi, right? For a peace talk, and then he's now coming. He's come back, and then because it's evening, Sanjaya says, "No, I will talk tomorrow morning." So I'll come. So he's like, he's unable to sleep. Dhritarashtra, I don't know what happened. Did Pandavas agree? Not agree? I don't know what happened. So now he wants to know and he cannot sleep. So he says, Vidura, please come and tell me some, because you tell me some nice things. So that it brings peace to my heart. So Vidura, the whole Vidura Niti starts like that. It is that night when Dhritarashtra cannot sleep. The next day is about to meet Sanjaya. What happened to your that peace talks that you went to Pandavas for? And that Vidura talks about all of these things. So Vidura is that kind of advisor. So they were never under the authority or the power of the king, because they were independent advisors. So this concept of independent advisors, that is the Brahma Varna. So that is the where rishis, these people will never be under the control of power. So knowledge will come. White comes first. But it's not the white color of the skin, right? Color of the skin is never white. It is light, not white. So white here means purity. It is knowledge, right? Knowledge comes first. Then what? Think about this. Should wealth come first or power come first? See, now you say the people in power should not be under the control of industrialists, right? Now Elon Musk, same question, right? Is Elon Musk controlling Trump? Or is Ambani controlling Modi? All these questions will ever come up, right? So that is true if yellow comes before red, because yellow will be on top controlling red. So no, yellow is not actually, the red comes first, which means power is, the only thing beyond power is knowledge, dharma. But everything under red will be under power. Right? So say power should be independent of wealth, controlled by wealth, but only should be controlled by knowledge. Then wealth, trade and labor, all of these things come one by one, right? So that is the hierarchy. It's not like, Brahma Jati is like this, Kshatriya, Shudra Jati should be. No, it's not like that. These are Varna. Again, that is confusing Varna and Jati. In English, they'll call caste. But if you look at all of the Vedic literature, they're only talking about Varna, never about Jati. Because Jati is a sociological phenomenon, right? One Jati comes, one Jati goes. Who knows how many Jatis are there? It's never documented anywhere. But the only thing you'll see is 4 Varnas everywhere. In the Upanishads, in Gita, in all of the Mahabharata. Everywhere you talk about 4 Varnas. And that 4 Varnas are not, that is Jiva Swabhava Varna. See, there are multiple Jatis, which is about where you are born, what you are doing, and all of those things, which is all social phenomenon. Nothing to do with spirituality, nothing to do with any of the Vedanta, Upanishads, and all of those things. But there are 4 Varnas. That means among all of these different kinds of people, there are only 4 kinds of people. Even the Greeks had that. They would call philosophers nobility and laity or something. They would call lay people. They had 3 Varnas, but lay people were traders and laborers and all of those things. But if you look at it, there are only 4 kinds of people. Whatever Jati they might be, they are the ones that are attracted by knowledge, want to know. They are jnana pipasa, right? They who have the thirst for knowledge and knowing and improvement and all of those things. They are pure. 2 is power, right? They are the leaders. They are the ones that are in the police, the judge. All of these leading people that are leading, controlling that kind of army, soldiers, warriors. All of those things are the red. That kind of people. That's naturally comes to them. Yellow are the people that are trading, that are building and all of those, creating stuff. Right? And then labor, serving. So is there anything other than these four? There are only four. That's what Krishna says. Chatur Varinyam Maya system. Guna karma vibhagashaha. He says. This guna vibhaga. It is not jati vibhaga. It is not because of your birth. See, jati itself in Sanskrit means jananat jatihi. That means even when you say, even for what jati is this dog? Basically, it's like it's a synonym for breed. Where it is born, where it comes from. Right? So it is all jatis is what is the species, what is the kind. It's kind of what is the kind we are talking about. But varna is not the physicality of it. Varna is inside, what is it? Right? Because outside appearance may be whatever, but inside it's only one of the four. And Krishna says all the four go to moksha. So it is not like only Brahmana Varna goes or Brahmana Kshatriya Varna goes. All the four go to moksha. All the four go to moksha in their own way. A yellow should not try to act like white. A red cannot try to act like black, or black cannot try to act like red or white. You be yourself, right? Be yourself, and that is the path to moksha. So all the four Varnas have path to moksha. Right? That is what Chatur Varna Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhagasha actually.
Saying that whoever is Kshatriya,
yeah,
who is a fighter, his way of moksha is fight his way to moksha, or he can do tapas.
Leading, not fighting, but protection. Right? Basically, if you come to Kshatat Trayate iti Kshatriya, right? That means he who protects from troubles. People, yeah.
He can do sadhana and like other people meditate and do that.
Can do, yeah.
Take the path. I mean, like he has to always.
That is the question of Arjuna, right? Mm-hmm. In the first chapter itself, why should I fight this war? I can become sannyasi and go for tapas. Krishna says that's the worst path for you.
You still have to do your job. But
Exactly. This is your path is through protection, because that's who you are. Because even even you're thinking that I will give up and go,
you won't be able to do it.
Because it's your nature. You see your people dying, your nature will compel you to run like a crazy person and go fight. So in this calmness, before the war, you're asking all these questions, but in the thick of it, you never think of this. Right? Bhima never thought of this.
I think the varna itself basically indicates your basic nature.
It's basic nature, exactly.
It is what you create based on your own tendencies.
Yeah, exactly. That is hatha, what we call hatha, right? Your hatha, you will get moksha in your own varna. So there is no high and low in varna. See, it is just different. So one path is just, through sadhana, meditation and sannyas and all of that. Other path is through engagement in the society and to, protection, all of those things. And their path is through that. They cannot leave that and become a sannyasi, and they will never be able to become sannyasi because that is not their nature. They might want to, but then they will give that up and come back. Right? Like if you look at Buddha, so even though he was in the household of a king, his nature was to give up and go. So he fought. That was his nature, to give up and go.
He was actually varna-wise. He's actually a Brahmana.
Brahmana varna.
He was born in a Kshatriya.
He was just so that means those things can happen. You can be born anywhere. And again, Chaturvarnya Maya system. Chaturvarnya is the society. That is for humanity. In humanity, there are four kinds of people, and that's about it.
It doesn't matter where you are born.
It doesn't matter. You might be in Africa. You might be in America. You might be in India. Still, you have one of the four varnas. And still, your path to moksha is through one of the varnas, your varna. So basically, what Krishna is saying is what? That your sadhana starts with where you are natural. What is your natural tendency? What is your natural varna? What is your natural hatha? That is going to be your path, not something else.
So if Arjuna just protects people, does he get just moksha?
No, that's what that protection. So there is just protecting people. There's also just learning. So then transform that learning into puja. What Krishna is saying, right? Whatever you are doing, you are transforming into puja. You're transforming into worship. And when you do that, that is a sadhana. That is what he's saying. That sadhana doesn't start unless there is this offering, right? And what is offering? Why should you offer?
So that you don't have the I concept.
Because you were never the ones. that actually did it, right? So with that realization that I am not the one, right? Like last class we had this whole debate about thoughts occur to us. What does that mean? That means you did not generate your thoughts. So when you say my thoughts, you did not create the thought. What happened? You acted on the thought. So where does thought come from? Not from your control. Thoughts occur to us. And that's why I say thoughts occur to me. Right? So that means what? Thoughts occur. That is dhiyo yo na prachodayat. The prachodana. Where is the thought coming from? The one who is beyond. Right? So whole of KaTopanishad and all of those things are because of that. That like I didn't think. Thought occurred to me. Then I acted on that. Where is it coming from? My eyes works. When I open my eyes, I am not making it work, but it's still working. Who makes it work? When I open my mouth, I can speak. I didn't design it. Who designed it? So that is all the KaTopanishad is talking about. And same thing that Nachiketa also asks, right? All our senses we are sensing, whether we want it or not. It doesn't. It's like I don't want to sense now, and you open the eyes. Now will you see or not? You are going to see, right? I don't want to hear anything, and then what? Does it stop? No. Right? So that means senses will continue working, mind will continue working, buddhi will continue working, everything will continue working whether you want it or not. That means it's not because of me, but it is in spite of me. So the whole question is, who is that? I want to know about that. That is the whole KaTopanishad, the same thing, even Nachiketa is saying the same thing here. Right? So the whole point is from that. Now, that is what happens, where in the third section, in the second section, he's talking about the choice, right? We have these two choices, and the two choices, the immediate is very, very compelling to us. It pressures us to indulge in this distraction, always, right? Oh, cricket is there, India-Pakistan match is there, oh, this thing is there, I want to go there. So, see, the immediate is always pushing us to, it's like the urgent, what is that 4 quadrants of what's this? Now Stephen Covey is it's there, but it's originally from I think some president. So he would always analyze everything in 4 quadrants: the urgent, the important, and that which is urgent but not important, and that which is not important and not the urgent. So he took this 4. So that which is urgent and important, it's where 99% of the people are. Right? It's like suddenly phone is ringing. Some spam, somebody wants you to answer him, but that is very some notification. You leave everything and you want to see what who said what in social media. India-Pakistan match is there. Oh, I want to get up at 3 a.m. and watch it. Like KK would do. Right? Like that, right? So there is so many things that is always urgent, but urgent is not going to lead you anywhere. That is why samsara is a cycle. Because what? If you follow every urgency, every desire, every compulsion that we get, do you think you are going to go somewhere? No. You are going to go in circles. That is what samsara is. Cycle means that is what it is. Because if you are indulging in every whim and every compulsion and every urgency, then what happens? It will keep you in quadrant 1. Then he says in quadrant 2 is actually where the real thing happens. That means that which is not urgent but very important. Nobody, it's like exam previous day. That is when you open the book and you want to read everything. Why? Because there is urgency. Tomorrow is coming. But if something is not urgent, will you really open the book and study? No. Right? So the whole of humanity is actually urgency. Right? One urgency to another urgency. But actually, if you look at the actual Shreyas path is what? Preyas path is urgency. Shreyas path is that which is not urgent but very important. And what is that? That is where there is no urgency. You don't feel the compulsion. It's something very boring. But that is where the habits comes from. Where make it a habit, so that even though there is no urgency, it's a habit to do study or habit to do this class. Right? Because you're compelled to learn. Whether sometimes I don't feel like taking the class, but still you come and then once you come it gets interesting. So like that when it's a habit, then what happens? it's not your likes and dislikes that determine. Because if you let your likes and dislikes determine, then it's always a cycle. Because you like sometimes, you dislike sometimes, it will take you in all this urgence mode. But when you keep it beyond, in the quadrant 2, important but not urgent, that is where you are actually doing it to a timetable. Whether you like it or not, you are doing it. That is what he said. That is the Shreyas path. Shreyas path is there's no distraction. Shreyas path is, it's not compelling. It's very interesting. This match I want to watch. There's nothing like that. It is like, hey, it's this Sunday, nothing is happening. I feel bored. Go do the class. Oh, I want to do it. Very interesting topic. I have to put that in the Gita in action. Oh, today, did you know this? If you forget, I have never published this. So many classes I have not published. Because if I publish, then they'll have the other path. It's like a moksha sadhana. If you get it in YouTube, why do you have to come to the physical class? So I don't put it in YouTube. So like that. So that's basically what it is that the quadrant where the non-urgent but very important is the most important thing that we do. That is, that is the choice that you got. Yama is saying that is the choice you got to pick. And Nachiketa, you picked it, and in your age, kids would pick toys and candy, and you are actually picking the most important thing. And I'm so happy to teach you. You are the ideal student. I want to teach you. And then in third section, then he starts talking about the need. What is avidya? Why do people take up the immediate and urgent, and not this the most important thing? Because we are always led by our senses. We are always led by our likes and dislikes. As long as you are captive to likes and dislikes, as long as you are captive to what your senses dictate, so long will you be distracted in this world. And which is what majority of humanity is like that. Right? That's how it's going to be. So then, that is all of this. And then Guru Upadesha. So you cannot, can I self-study and then learn everything by myself? That will not happen. Right? So you need somebody who has experienced. So I think we spoke about Anubhava and Anubhava. The difference between Anubhava. Anubhava is experience. What is Anubhava? Anubhava is the experienced, he who has experience. It's not book, there's no concept of book knowledge. Right? There's Anubhava is who has gained experiential wisdom. So such a person, I shouldn't say he, it can be he or she. Such a person is the one that's the ideal guru. And without that upadesha, you cannot go to the Shreyas path. Right? You need, it's like, it's a lineage, right? An experienced person has to go give to the next generation. So that is in the Pancha Mahayagna, this is one of the Mahayagnas, right? Rishi Yagna. Our duty, one of our duties is what? What are the Pancha Mahayagnas? Deva Yagna,
Rishi Yagna, Manusha Yagna, Bhuta Yagna,
Pitra, right? So the Deva Yagna is like a physical fire, right? We are offering to the Devatas the physical homa that we do, that physical fire. Pitru Yagna is the tarpanas and all of those things we do. And then Rishi Yagna this is Rishi Yagna. And there's a beautiful mantra, if we come to it today, it talks about the Rishi Yagna. Beautiful mantra. And then Bhuta Yagna is what? Our duty towards animals. So, when they had lunch, they would do a homa, and they would feed animals first, right? So that the Vaishvadeva they used to call. Vaishvadeva means first animals, and then they will. If you go even before that, they feed a guest. That's Manusha Yajna before they have their lunch. So that is the kind of thing that those yajnas are, right? So that is one of the Rishi Yajna is this. What we are doing is Rishi Yajna means it's one generation to another. Again, you might say, I am the same old generation. No, but if you know, then you can pass it on to the others, right? So that's basically that. If that knowledge is broken, there is a sin, right? Not sin, but a papa. That papa that pertains to this, not doing the yajna. There's a papa to that. And what is that? Because you broke a lineage, right? So, Pitru Yajna, how do you break it? Yeah, not doing the tarpanas and all of those, yes. There's one other big one. And they put it as debt.
Samskara.
No.
The kids, right?
But begetting kids, right? So there is Deva Rana, Pitru Rana. They say they have to come up. You come with 2 debts, or you can the yajna it becomes a debt, 5 debts or 2 debts. But usually more famous is 2 debts. You come with 2 debts. One is Deva Rana. So Ranas to the basically the nature, the forces of nature that has created us. So you have to offer back to nature. And then Pitru Rana. That means you're not born in nature. You're born in society. You're born in a family. So it is all of their things that actually, you grow up with all of those, right? So all the people, so many people doing stuff for you, without any selflessly, right? No selfishness there. So that is, there is a rana. So what he says, how do you break the Pitru Rana? By begetting kids. So you keep the lineage going. Prajata, there's in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the oldest graduation speech is there. Satyam vada, dharmam chara, swadhyayan ma pramadaha, acharyaya priyam dhanamahakritya prajatantum ma vyavatseti. He says, Rishi is telling his shishya has finished his education, he is going back, so finally graduation speech is giving, and then all satyam vada dharmam chara, how to live in this world. You have to speak the truth, you have to do dharmic, be dharmic. Then he says acharyaya priyam dhanamahakritya prajatantum ma vyavatseti. After giving Guru Dakshina, don't not have kids. Go have kids. Don't cut the lineage. Prajatanti means it is the lineage of kids and grandkids and great grandkids and all of that, right? That's a lineage. That generations. Don't be the one that cuts off that generation. Prajatantum ma vivachetsi. You should never cut that off. We should always beget kids. Because that is the one that debt to our forefathers, that is to beget kids. Right? And so once you beget kids, your Pitru Rana is done. Right? So all of these things are built into the samskaras and everything that ought to be done. It's all there. Right? So those are the things. And what was I saying? I was saying something.
Yajnas, the Pitru.
Yeah. Panchamahayajna, and then before that I came to Panchama.
From sadhana we came to this.
Yeah. So Guru Upadesha, right? So we are talking about Guru Upadesha. So this is what it is, right? So you what is the nature of Ajnana? Basically, being indulgent in the senses and going by likes and dislikes. Samsara is basically that, right? You cannot, and that is what cycle is. It's the same thing as hedonic treadmill. It's the same thing. It's just you will never go anywhere on the treadmill. You are standing there. You are running and running and running, but you're standing there, right? And that is samsara is all the same thing. So likes and dislikes are never going to take you anywhere. So you have to rise above likes and dislikes, and that's when actual sadhana starts, and that's what is Shreyas Marga. And then, just by doing that, is it okay? Of course, to do itself, you need Guru Upadesha. And then what to do after that, how to know the correct knowledge, all of those things comes from Guru. So he establishes that in the first chapter. In the second chapter, that's what, in the last class we saw that, he says, it's getting warm here, there's no AC. So why do majority of the people are stuck in the samsara, and only some are doing this, right? Transcending beyond and actually choosing the Shreyas path. And then he, beautiful mantra where he says, Paranchi khani vetranat swayambhu tasmat parak pashyati na antaratman kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmana maikshat avrutta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. He says, Swayambhu, Paramatma, he has created a body in such a way that kham in Sanskrit means holes. empty holes, nothing but he's calling senses. All our senses are like holes. He has created holes in this body, that's the senses. And the nature of it is, and Vyatranat means, it's like he has made it like useless. Why? Because Parak Pashyatin Antaratman. Senses only see outside. They never see inside. So what happens? We always follow what we see outside. That means our nature is always to go outside and go, we are always in the distraction, which is the outside world, and never inside. Then he says, Kaschid Dhiraha. Only a few people, Dhiraha, Dhiramana Dhiraha, that means who love to know, who love to go beyond, who understand that this is a cycle, this is meaningless. They rise about that. And what? Pratyagatmanam Aikshat. They see the Paramatma inside. How? Avritta Chakshuhu Amrutatvam Icchan. They desire Amrutatva. Because everything, all the likes and dislikes in this world, nothing is permanent. Everything in this world is going to be impermanent. And we had this big discussion, right? Property, name, everything is, nothing is permanent. So they are like, everything that you have will come to an end. Every relationship, every property, every wealth, other than, and I gave the example of, there is only two things you carry after death. What are the yatha karma, yatha shrutam? What you have learned and what you have done, those are, you travel light, right? You only travel with too small, I shouldn't say small, when karma itself is too big, but too, right? We are carrying two bags.
Virtual packages.
Yeah?
Virtual packages.
What are those two? That continues even after death. One is what we have done, what you have learned. Those are the only two packages. Other than that, your relationships, my father, my mother, my kids, my relation, my friends, it's all bodies relationship. There's a beautiful story in Bhagavata.
You take the memories, right? No?
What is that?
You take the memories.
No, you don't take the memory. I mean, it's not the specifics. You take the emotions.
Yeah.
And basically, samskara is that's what it is, right? It's more of it's the emotions, right? That's the emotions. It's not specifics, right? It's like having psychological issues where you don't know what this is about. But and all the Freudian technique is to kind of like what led to this, right? It's like trying to find out what the specifics of.
You have like the fear or anger emotion, but it could have been because of so many different things.
Yeah, so many different things. Yeah, but that emotion is there, and that's what we're going to carry. So so if there's a fear of something, we carry the fear. So and you will not. It's an irrational fear. It's like we carry the irrational fears, and that's the samskara that we carry. But then when you that's what. So that's the karma that we carry, and then what we have learned we carry.
So when you're born, we already came packaged with those emotions.
That's from the previous.
Has already
yes.
have those emotions.
Yeah, there's no
in suppressed form.
Yeah, they say tabular. In the old psychological literature, there was these two schools. Are we born like with clean slate? Why you can teach anything to anybody. Like it's the West. See, West is about equalization, right? Anything can learn anything. Anybody can learn anything. Anybody can do anything. So if we are all equal. So these are all Western ideas, not Indian ideas. We are not equal. So in Indian idea is we are not. None of us are equals. We are all unequals.
We're not the same but equal. There is also a statement. We're not the same but equal.
No, we are not.
Atlas, like,
Yeah. So the thing is, and this is there. See, in India, our equality is basically in what we call equity here, right? It's like, it's physically, are we the same? No. Mentally, are we the same? No. Emotionally, are we the same? No. In what way are we the same? Karmically, are we the same? No. Somebody is punya karma, somebody is papa karma, there's like a whole spectrum. In what basis, in what way are we all the same? Nothing. So then there is in the dictum in Vedanta, it is equality among unequals and inequality among equals. that is injustice. So that means unequals is a given. Physically we are unequal, but that's not a problem. That if you say given is a problem, then what is it? I mean, it's how things are. How things are is not a problem, right? It's like what do you do out of it and all of those things. That's a problem. So if you look at all of Western civilization in the last couple of 100 years, what is their biggest thing? It is to equalization of unequals. Communism is what? You take all the land from everybody, socialism, communism, and give equal distribution. So what happens when you try to equally distribute it among unequals? Injustice happens. That is Vedanta already says that, right? So that it's like if you treat the merit student and 35 student the same, it is equality among unequals. Or if two students are merit based, and if you give one person a big seat and other one no seat, that is what? Inequality among equals. The problem is there. When two people, when we say equals, it's like they are not exactly equal. They're going to be similar, right? If you treat unequally similar people and equally people who are not similar, then that is where injustice happens. If the natural justice is to treat each one according to himself, right? That's what it is. That's what equity means. That means you don't treat two different people same, right? And then you cannot teach two people the same way, because one for one maybe that is the best method. For the other, that might not be the best method, right? So even in anything you see, we are all unequals.
I think the Western concept of equality is basically you're treating everybody, your treatment of people, showing the respect, whatever it is, equally. It doesn't matter whether it's a child or an adult, whether you're a learned person, a laborer, you're a prostitute, but you treat them respectfully.
No, that is different, right? So respect the humanity.
Humanity. Yeah.
So but again,
that's what they meant by showing equality.
So again, they mean by it, but that's not equality, right? So if you look at it,
giving equal opportunities in American civilization, what they are, I've been reading it. What they say is, whether you are this or that, any of the three categories of people who have been here, what we must do is to give equal opportunity.
But the thing is, don't stop the merit. What you get and what you make of it is your merit.
Yeah, that also.
Yeah.
Don't favor one to the other to the other.
Right, correct. That's fine.
Let them rise according to what they
let them rise according to their merit. Right? But here equality is like everybody is the same. So even the concept of tabula rasa was that we are all the same and everybody is teachable. Everybody, and if you look at all the books, self-help books that's come on for decades, it's all under the notion that something could be taught to anyone. All of these things, leadership skills could be taught. These things could be taught, and it's all you can learn it, but you cannot be equal in that sense, right? So that's the thing. So here, inequality is a given, but it's not a problem, right? But it is not, it doesn't mean that you should disrespect. I mean, we are like kind of mistaking two different things. Should we respect a human being? Definitely you should respect a human being. Does that mean that these two people, Maharishi with a lot of wisdom and a useless fellow, these two people are there, should you not punish this guy? Yeah, you should punish this guy. So each one according to his karma, what he has done. That is the treatment which is proportional to what they have done, what they are, that is justice. Treating equally one wise man and one useless fellow that is not justice. Right? So that is in the Vedanta, we have not been able to articulate that, we have accepted all of this equality that has destroyed Indian society now, because we have not thought, it's not thought out correctly and simply applied, and everything has been equalized. And then what happens? That equalization comes at somebody suffering. Right? Somebody comes up because somebody else has to suffer. And then they'll create a story, this is the ages of all this oppression. And
the reality, even in India now, is there are a lot of people in the lower caste, then anyone allowed to enter the temples, even allowed to enter the
No, I don't buy that.
No,
See,
I'm saying there are actually situations. I have my friend, and it's happening. It's still there.
No,
Especially
see,
online, it's still
no,
lot of
but it
discrimination.
might be post-colonial,
Yeah.
not pre-colonial.
Lot of discrimination.
So, see, if you go to ancient, like sociological works, each jati had their own temples, right? It's not like, why is, and this came up in the, what is that, Shabarimala entering, was that Shabarimala entering a temple? Females cannot enter. That is, males cannot enter some other temple. I mean, that's how it is. It's not like entry, barring entry. It's like, hey, it's your temple, you have made the rules. You have your house, I have my house. Oh, you should give me entry in your house. Means what? There's nothing. There's no rule.
Equate it to some clubs here. You cannot
It's
just
kind.
walk into a club
Hey,
and,
I create a club and I create an entry rule for that club.
No, no, just say so like you are.
Yeah, and that's it. That's a rule for that.
Actually, you're saying that it's
entry.
justified
Yes,
if
exactly.
somebody, rich people in the village built a temple, they can bar other people from entering.
Definitely. What is stopping? What is? Oh, definitely. See, if you look at India, each groups had their own temple. Like they had their own deity that they worshipped. Right? There was a common day, like Grama Devata. There was a common village deity, so everybody would come there. But each group would have their own deity. They would have their own worship.
How do you, we kind of blame people converting into other religions, but we don't want to accept our own people and then give them.
There is no. What I'm saying is, this is confounding two different
What's
things.
happening is there's one temple in that town. I'm talking about in one of the Chittoor towns.
Yeah.
They won't let other people come in. The temple is surrounded by churches because they all build their own churches.
Yeah.
They don't let them come in. So
Yeah.
change.
See that.
This is what, and then we blame them. We blame
Yeah,
them
yeah.
for converting, but we don't accept our own.
So this is a lie built on a lie that's built on a lie, and it's like if you look at the basic issue, it's a non-issue. You build your own temple, or of course in the modern there's a temples, there's public temple, right? The government-owned temples are there. Yeah, if it's government-owned, government is by the people, so it should be open to everybody. If I with my money open my own temple, I set the rules. Who can enter, who cannot enter. So what is it? It's like a club, my club.
I'm just saying, why would you set the rule saying that is it based on varnas? Is it based on jati?
No, based on my liking.
Yeah. Why? Is God likes only certain people? Like.
There is again what you are doing is you are bringing all these arguments.
I'm just saying, why would you even have a sense of discrimination?
There's no discrimination. That's what I'm saying. This is not discriminating. It is like I created my house. I created my temple. I want my friends to enter the temple. That's
Okay,
it.
and then if you want to clean the temple, remove any sewage, you want somebody else to come and do it.
No, I will say why. No.
No, I'm just saying, that doesn't make any sense. I'm saying
As long as it is built by a person, it is okay. But if you inherit, some kings are built all over the.
See, if a king is built it. So I'm saying there are temples where it is built by a king or owned by a government. Whatever it is, that belongs to public. I'm saying that is only recently, that is only a couple of 100 years where you have common temples. I'm saying if you go back to the olden times, 500 years, every group had their own temple.
No, but Tamil Nadu and all, way back in 1100s, kings built a temple.
Yeah, it's like Vaishnavas had their own temple, Shaivas had their own temple. Oh, you say, Vaishnavas should let the Shaiva in. Why? Oh, Shaivas should let the Vaishnava in. Why?
Yeah, but
that means you're asking them to declare their faith before entering the temple, or what?
No, that is.
It's not like that.
See, faith
So
is.
if somebody is walking into the temple. How do you know that?
It
what
only
they-
works in a very tiny temple. Krishna, think about Tirupati. VIPs get the best access in Tirupati.
That is also Bheda Baba is there. No. See, that is like.
As soon as you're an actress or an actor or a minister, you are.
Everybody stopped.
That's where everyone
Other
else
colleges
is.
like also
I'm
built.
saying that's not right.
So the small temples are different from like a major temple like.
Major temple should
Like
be
say
taken out.
example, Tirupati,
Yeah.
one of the biggest.
See, it is.
temples.
What I'm saying is, don't think of the temple today. Yeah, everything is changed today. What I'm saying is, the whole root of this problem is a no problem. I'm sorry, not saying today somebody should be barred, somebody should be given entry and all of those things. I'm saying, yeah, now that everything is open to everybody and all of those things, yes, barring somebody is a problem, really a problem, except from Shabarimala and all of those things, where, there are certain rules because of some things. I'm saying things should be open and everything, that is fine. But the problem did not come because people were stopping others from entering. The problem, it was a no problem because people built their own temples. So it is like, think of it like your exclusive clubs. You are a certain people, or even within Brahmanas, certain sector, like a sector for Brahmana will build a certain temple, another sect will bring another temple, what is that, even in Sri Vaishnava, there are so many different varieties, right?
Even the access is different.
So that the thing is,
Go near some of them.
that is all, I'm talking pre-confusion, post-confusion, right? Post-confusion, don't use the post-confusion as the argument for pre-confusion, right? I'm saying post-confusion is fine. Whatever you see, talking about post-confusion, it all makes sense because it all comes after confusion. But what I'm saying is the confusion itself is there is no issue there because they never treated a temple as a public thing. Unless a king created it, it was the temples. See, again, temples were not built in every street. Temples were built at prominent places and, where the nature, there was a waterfall or there's a hill and all of those things. People built, their own temples and all of those things. And so there was nobody was barred from doing, is there anywhere that said, oh, you cannot build a temple? There's nothing like that. So people built their own temples. But the thing is, whether somebody is barred from entry or not, that is a post issue. That's not a pre-issue.
And that is not only specific to temples, even mosques have those differences. And
Yeah, I
even
mean,
the churches have
everybody will have,
everywhere-
if you are Shia Muslim, you are Sunni Muslim, you can't come here.
People also differentiate based on the wealth, right?
Right.
Okay, they are,
So
yeah.
like Tirupati, we all, if they say that there is no money, everybody has to stay in the line.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is pure no discrimination.
Yeah.
Why do we make a discrimination? Saying
biggest
that
discrimination
people with
is-
money can get into
yeah.
the line faster.
Yeah.
So we are acceptable with that discrimination saying money can
Exactly.
stay.
See, that is the thing, is what we have done, what West has taught us, is to
money-
think at a certain differentiation as the differentiation, and there are so many others are there. But I don't know, the money, you could have asked, why are they letting rich people go in fast? Why are the...
That's not right. I mean, like,
Exactly.
government-
So if you...
government doing it, right?
Hey,
It's not just the
we
government
say that
doing
it's
it.
not right, but how many of us will go and stand in the Dhamma darshan?
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Everyone wants the best, right? You have NRI darshan,
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
common
now,
darshan.
I think we
Yeah.
can all say that it is not right to be a money thing. But including me, I'm not going to go stay in the Dharma darshan
Right.
to show an example that hey, even though I have money, I'm going to stay and get the darshan.
See, if you look at it, Dharma Darshan is actually equality darshan.
Yes.
Anybody can stand, no, you don't have to pay anything, you go.
Because we also kind of
So we are saying we are unequals. We want to be, we want to get
we
darshan.
also kind of propagate that where
Yeah.
we are well. So let's
Shouldn't we start an agitation to stop that process?
So,
Discrimination.
see, that's a very important point.
Convenient for us, we don't do the agitation.
Exactly.
They are getting more
I think
senior
we should be doing
waiting
it because
line,
it's convenient.
24 hours. It's not easy, to stay there.
absolutely.
That's why they don't do it.
No NRI is going to stand with you. Krishna.
Stay in Dharma Darshan for 2 years, don't go there. I haven't gone there for 6-7 years because I don't want to stay in Dharma Darshan.
And I think some of the temples which are pre-colonial, Udupi, nobody is asking you the jati there and nobody is telling
Yeah.
you not to go in. Maybe the small temple, local temple, they know, everyone knows everyone else, then they...
So the thing is,
The whole optics, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really coming from a certain perspective, but the whole optics comes out as that.
Absolutely, yes.
Because, like Sunil is talking about, elevating, whatever we do, elevate into your worship. So if you have it, and then but for some reason you say, okay, it's only for my family or only for certain communities, where is that I think is still there? I think is still there. We haven't gone to that level of a worship where you're encompassing everybody.
but the thing is, what I'm saying is that is not a problem. It's like somebody asking me, you're only teaching to a small group. You should teach to everybody. You should teach on social media. I don't want to teach. I want a relational
But at least
teaching.
you will teach whoever walks into this door.
Yeah, I will teach. But again,
We don't say only these people are allowed.
no, but the thing is, can you not ask me and say, hey, you should be teaching to the whole of humanity? Why are you differentiating woodlands people and all of
That's a
humanity?
different thing. So now
That
he's
is not-
sitting, now he's sitting in the Gita class.
Yeah.
If somebody else wants to come and sit here, we're just talking.
No, we'll,
You're not stopping. right?
Exactly,
You're sitting
yeah,
in the temples.
yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
there's one more point also.
Yeah.
Like, it's tribal identity versus no identity. So in the West, tribal identities got wiped out, right? Christianity
Yes.
wiped out all the Anglo-Saxons and all the original tribes of Europe.
Germanic tribes, Anglo,
They
yeah,
wiped
yeah,
them
yeah.
all.
Vikings and all.
Christianity made
Yeah.
them all equal. That
Yes.
was the whole purpose of Christianity.
Christianity's purpose
we
was.
still have our tribal identities. To have a tribal identity.
See, tribal identity was.
And an outsider.
Tribal identity was pre-Christian. So tribal identity is pagan. So to destroy pagan, you have to destroy their tribal identity. So even there, it's not like some nice big spiritual idea, but it is like, why did they make December 25th Christmas? Because they were always celebrating in March or April. Christmas was in April or March. Why was it December? Because everybody. So even then, when they became Christian, their tribal, it's like, somebody becomes Christian, they're still celebrating Diwali and all of that stuff. How do you wipe out Diwali? Keep that on Diwali day. So now that all the Diwali festivities will still continue, but they're not going to be Diwali puja, but some other puja. So that is, the convenience was what? December 25th is, there was a pre-Christian celebration that would always happen in Europe, where December, after winter solstice, they would have this one week of all these festivities. So they said, you know what, everybody is still doing it. You cannot preach them not to do. If you cannot force them, what? Join them. But one thing you have to give, the brains that they've used to design it, we cannot match it. Right? They used Veda Tantra to divide tribes. India, or this fellow has to fight with this guy. That has never, that was never wiped out. They successfully used it, and so what is very good to learn from the West? That buddhi, right? That Chanakya buddhi, right? That we could not match, right? That is how to, how to kind of do this, design it in such a way that Christianity, that all of these. So what? And even Vidura says, see in the four tantra, the four tantras, right? He says ekaya dve vinischitya. Do you remember that numerology that Vidura says to Dhritarashtra? He gives the best way to be happy. He says is to know your numbers. He says ekaya dve vinischitya trim chatvari something he says vashikurum panchajitva viditva shat saptajitva sukhi bhava, he says. So from one, discriminate between the two, control the three with the four, win the five, know the six, give up the seven, be happy, he says. Beautiful. And I did Vedraniti summer class in this room, and we did for days, just this sloka, how to explain this, what it means. Beautiful, commentaries talk about ekaya. What is that eka? Buddhi, right? Your power of discrimination, right? Whether it's prayas, shreyas or whatever, that is the buddhi is the one, that's the charioteer, right? That is the charioteer that controls the senses and all of those things. Dve vinischitya. You need to ascertain these two. What is it? Dharma, adharma. So that you can pick dharma with the buddhi. Treen. So the world, we are surrounded by three. What is it? Mitra, Shatru, and Samanya. What is the Mitra? We have friends, we have enemies, and we have all others. Right? There are three. Treen, Chatvari, Vashikurum. You have to control these three with the four, he says. What are the four? What are the four? The four tantras, right? What are the four tantras?
Like Bheda, Dana.
Dana, Danda, right? Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. These are four. So what does he say? How do you, and then there's a lot of even Chanakya, everybody talks about that. Sama means what? Unite the friends. So if you look at what Christianity has done, like you said, they wiped out the tribal identities. They united everybody, right? How did the West and even Islam able to conquer a lot? Because they were able to form big groups. Because the tribal identity, even with Islam, that there were so many tribes in Arabia. So all the tribal identities were wiped out. There was one single identity. So Sama, they used the Sama Tantra, of course with Danda, what saying? You and me are the same. So we are the same. All the tribes can unite and you can form a big group. And this big group will have one goal. And now you are attacking a group that has many, many goals. Oh, you are a Prakriti worshipper, or you are Paramatma worshipper, Paramatma, oh, Shiva is Paramatma, oh, Ganesha is Paramatma, oh, Krishna Paramatma, Vaishnava, Shaiva, Ganapatya, Saura, all of these things. You have all of these things. And you have many, many different goals. Each one has his own goal. One is saying Tantra, one is saying this thing, that thing. Can a big group destroy groups that have different goals? See, what does Abrahamic religion bring to the table? What is their advantage? It's not military strength and all. Like if you look at the wars then, militarily it's the same thing. Industrialization is post-colonialization, not pre-colonialization. It's not like they had the guns and therefore they were able to conquer. Guns came later on. It came after Industrial Revolution, right? So now, before that, when they came to India for trade and all of that stuff, it was all equal. Everything was same. So what did they bring that we did not have? They brought one goal and the ability to create large groups with one goal. We did not have that one goal. We had many, many goals, many, many groups. So at times, one group didn't like the other group, so they would join with this guy and say, kill this guy and then give me the kingdom, right? Give me, right? And so give me the kingdom. Even among Islam, that's what happened, right? So British went with, in Bengal in 1857. They went with one Nawab and killed the other Nawab. And when this guy came, then they killed him also and all of that, right? So that Bheda Tantra, they were very good in Bheda Tantra. So what Vidura says is, divide your enemy, unite your friends. Your enemy should always be divided. And West has used it beautifully. That is the one you should. Even today, US aid and all of this, right? Why is that in India all the money is flowing toward divide people? So, because why do you divide people? Because it's a political, ideological thing. It's like keep your enemies weak. If they are unable to touch China, why? Because China is fully united. And then whatever the means they have used to unite themselves,
They have a dictatorship. That's why.
I don't care about it, whatever it is, right? Yeah, if we go to China, they're living much better than us, right? So, but if you go there, they cannot penetrate China, right? Anybody can go and set up shop and do anything. Nobody will talk about it. But you cannot go inside China. No social media can go in China. They have their own thing. They've produced. They've thought long term, right? So then nothing can be done. So that is the whole problem. Is West cannot divide China, and if you cannot divide, you cannot weaken them. And that is what the Bheda Tantra and Samya Tantra. So Sama Tantra means unite your friends, unite your people, so that you are always strong. Divide your enemy, because enemy should always be weak. And it could be divisions like, oh, there's no equality in our society, or there's oppression, this thing. If you go back in the literature, so my way of looking at the literature is all the concepts of oppression, dominance and victimhood and all of those things. Is there anything like that in those? Like skin color is not there in any of the ancient Puranas, because that means that was not, like for example, you looked at jatis, but you did not look at wealth until he brought that up, right? But the same thing, if I go to a book, if they are not talking about skin color, that means that is not something they're blind to that. That means that for them the differentiation is not, yes, jati by birth, yes, where you are born is a differentiation that you see everywhere, is fine. What you work, what you do, that's a differentiation, that's fine. Skin color, nobody mentions. No, Vishwamitra is saying, oh, this color, that color. Nobody's saying that, right? So that means, oh, that is something they are blind. See, there's so many differentiations. You cannot be aware of all differentiations. So in your civilization, what was the prominence that you gave to these kinds of differentiation? Skin color was prominence that was given by Islam. Even in the Abrahamic, they gave that. In India, not until the West came in was that a differentiation. Faith was a differentiation. Once they came in, when Islam came in, then people who follow and don't follow, and one God, many gods, all of those things, that differentiation came later on. But if you see before, that kind of differentiation was not there, right? So that is very important. I was trying to say something.
Pre-colony also there was differentiation, right?
Which one?
Even like 11th century, 12th century, we had differentiation. Always.
Skin color was not a differentiation.
Yeah, but following gods.
Yeah, that is there. But the thing is, I'm saying those kinds of differentiation was there, but they are not aware of differentiation in wealth, differentiation in skin color, differentiation in the shape of the nose, all of those things. That's not. So West had these kinds, those kinds of differentiation, and they taught us to look at these as differentiation and be blind to others, right? So when we are asking these questions, even in the most the good way, we have to understand that we have been taught to ask those questions. We have been taught to look at the difference. There are so many differences. Each one of us is different. Yeah, I can say we'll differentiate based on hair length or hair color. Oh, I cannot a lighter color hair and a darker color hair. No, it should be different. So we are not. There could be so many differentiations that we can talk of, but those are differences that we are aware of. But it's not a point of discrimination, right? So that is what West taught us is what to look at to discriminate. I said, look at the skin color to discriminate. Oh, you are looking at all of those things? No. Skin color matters, right? Your faith matters. That is how you need to discriminate, right? So that's a very important thing to look at.
Yeah, we had a inherently strong divisions within the.
Oh, definitely.
I think the West didn't create those differences, they took advantage of them, I say, but we already had those differences.
No, because...
Even in Puranas, there were references to this.
What I'm saying is difference is natural. It will be there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what West did is they just went by their experience. No, it's not just advantage. They had the experience. See, in the Roman Empire, you could not convince the Romans who were very literate and who were talking philosophy, saying something that they were like, this is like a ABCD you're talking about. They were not interested. So who do you talk to? You talk to people, the laity, right? The lay people. So they started talking to lay people. See, if you look at all the conversions in Roman Empire, all conversions were, what we call as a laity, the lay people, the lower, not the nobility, not the philosophers. They would not even care about this, right? So then and that's the same model in India. They're like going to look at the lower castes. If they become Christian, then the same Roman model could be used in India, and then you can all of those things, right? So that is but then what happened there? They became powerful. They became more in number. So now they could take on, the nobility, and then of course the philosophers and all of that. And when they killed them and they extinguished all the differences, then what they said? Then after 1,000 years, they said, oh, these are all Greeks, were our forefathers. It is our philosophy. We are going to relearn it. And, if you look at, what's his name? He's a Catholic. He's very big in Catholicism. 1000 AD. He's very big. So he was the first one to use the logic of the Greeks that they gained. They didn't even care about that. Because they were burning the books at that time. So they were like, they were burning all the books. So it is the Islamics that were actually studying the Greeks and actually the Indian math and Indian philosophy, all of those things. Yeah. And then what happened? They one fine day, because of faith, they went to Spain and they wanted to recapture Spain for Christianity because Muslims had captured Spain at that time. So they went to Spain. And then they recaptured Spain, and there was a lot of books in the library. And for the first time in millennia, in 1,000 years, instead of burning those books, what they said, these Muslims are very prosperous. So there should be something in these books that is making them prosperous and we are not prosperous. Because at that time, they were suffering. So first time they started translating those works to these Greek and Latin and all of those, so that we can learn. So the translation, if they had burned the books in Spain's libraries, they would still be like that. But this first time, again, it's all it's all Kali Yuga, right? The things have to happen. Now AI has come, so I think there's a fork. Kali Yuga will accelerate. We'll see.
Actually, in that particular city, they didn't even destroy all the mass. They converted them into churches.
Yeah.
Drove away all the Muslims. But the building
Moors,
is
yeah.
intact, and they converted them into churches.
Correct, yeah. So Spain was the point of change. Without Spain, it would not have happened. It's not Jerusalem. Spain was the actual seed of the big change that came in Christianity, where they actually started studying. And that is the library was not burned like what they did in the 5th century, right, in Alexandria, right, Hypatia and all of that. They killed her and they burned the library of Alexandria. Again, it was a repository of a lot of work from around the world. Of course, Takshashila was different. Takshashila was a Huna, right, the Huns. So that's what happened, right? So that is when they started translating. And then if you look at a couple of centuries later, then they were like using the same works of Aristotle and Plato and all of that, and then applying that to the Christian works, right? They're translating Christianity and putting Christianity in those. It's like today, we have a lot of people that talk about Vedanta in terms of quantum physics. Nothing different. Whatever is more dominant today, we want to use that language to learn. That's not new. In the same world, when they started learning about Greeks, they started using that techniques into the works and started. So 500 years before that, when they were the enemies, when they wiped out all the enemies, now they are forefathers, right? Those are our works.
That's because they needed that philosophy.
They needed that philosophy. They didn't have anything of their own. Yeah. And if you look at Greeks are Mediterranean people, so there's no different from Arabs. It's all the same. But if you look at them, it's like you get falafel here also, you get falafel there also. It's the same. Everything, Lebanon, Greece, everything is the same. But now there's a differentiation came. Greek is Western, Arab is Eastern, right?
Greek philosophy is Aristotle and all. They come up with so many.
Yeah, but it's the Arabs. They looked at them as their own forefathers. They are like, it's a work that came to us. Even Persians used those works because once Greeks and fell, in Romans and Greeks fell, that philosophy went eastwards. So you can see a lot of Roman philosophers in the east, in Persia and all of that. So there's all these big works were coming out of Persia. There's all of these things were happening. So then they wiped it out, right, later on. So that is what, so if you look at history, then you can see all these transitions that's going on. But what we see is we see the now and here and the now, and we try to kind of use that to kind of superimpose on our past. Past is not like the same. Past is completely different. Same thing with the issues of discrimination. The past was completely different. The issues were completely different. The confusion was completely different, right? But what the issues now we are fighting is the issues that the West has described and defined for us. Because it is in their interest. Right? That is Bheda Tantra. No. Make your enemy think in terms of what you want them to think.
No, forget about it. What is in the best interest of Hindus to unite the Hindus? What is that we have to do? Forget about West.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to stop all this.
Exactly, yeah.
Right,
how do you unite Hindus?
Yeah,
exactly, definitely.
Going back into the past and saying that what we did before, we're going to do the same thing. It's not going to work.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I think. If you have to unite everybody.
Yeah. I mean, again, politics is different. I mean, politics is a very volatile thing. But saying it should not be individual based. Right? After Modi, what? Right? It should be a system based. Right? There should be. It is not one individual come and go. But the system will still be there, right? Yeah. If you look at the environment that Congress has created in India, whoever has come, the old system is still there, right? That's a deep state. The Indian deep state is that bureaucracy. They will tell and they do whatever they want. So like that. And what Elon Musk is doing here is fantastic. Whoever, whether you support him or not, he knows what is there, what is entrenched, what are the issues and all of those things. Yeah, see. good and bad are always mixed. With some good, there's some bad will also come, right? So you're like, which is much worse? So we are like, there is a lot of bad in red also. So, but worse in the blue, at least at this point of time. So maybe let the red play out.
We've also had more unifiers in our history than we've had people who divide. Right?
Definitely.
Starting from Shankaracharya all the way to Vivekananda, Aurobindo.
Yeah.
We've had so many people
Again, there, definition is by the West. There's so many acharyas have come, right? And my problem with that part of history is the bhakti movement was kind of a footnote. It's like, this is all this intellectual thing and all of that things. Oh, and then there was this bhakti movement and that went on. It's all emotion and they were singing and dancing. There's a full philosophy to that. And that was a big fight against, if the whole think about Advaita and all of those things. So both are intellectual movements. They are both intellectual movements. So bhakti emerged out of intellectual, conviction that at the end it is a devotion in itself. And Krishna is saying, and it's not like a new invention. You go back to that bhakti yoga, what he's saying. In the end, in the Vishwarupa Darshana, what does he say? No yajna, no tapas, no nothing is going to get you this. What is going to get you this? Bhakti is the one that's going to get this. Eka bhakti, he says. It's one God. There's only one God. Right? That is it. So, see, again, God is not Deva. We have one Paramatma, many Devas. Right? So again, we have confounded that also. We are confused about, is there many Paramatmas? No. There's only one Paramatma. Ekam Brahma, one Paramatma. Many Devatas.
We are all Paramatmas.
No, we're not. That's a different.
He stays in us.
He stays in us. Correct.
To that extent,
Yeah.
the entire universe is He.
No, it's not. How is it? There's no
He
He.
stays in me.
He's within me.
You.
Yes.
Yeah. So
But he's not me. He's within me.
He
Yeah.
is there.
Yeah, he's in me. Definitely. I mean, he's here. Even Upanishad keeps saying that, right? Paramatma is within everything. Right?
Including, yes.
Yeah. In the Chandogya Upanishad, and we'll do the Chandogya Upanishad, that part, Tattvamasi part. Aitadatmyamidam sarvam, tat satyam, sa atma tattvamasi shvetaketo, he says. It means, you came with ahankara. You went and studied for 12 years and then you think you're some god or something because he came with, stabdaya. He didn't even respect his father. He didn't even fall at his feet. He just came like, I know everything in this world. You are nobody in front of me. That attitude he came. Right? So Shvetaketu, he's like, he has not learned something. That is the most important thing. He has not learned that. So then he says, after teaching 9 examples, he says, Aitadatmyam idam sarvam. Everything has him as its Atma, as in his Antaryami. Everything in this universe, within it lives this. Tat Satyam, that is the one, he is the one that is the creator, destroyer. Sat Tyat means he is the one creator, destroyer, everything, giver of, he protects. All of these things is the one that is he. Sa Atma, Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. He is our Antaryami. And in our tradition, Atattva, you are not God, Shvetaketo. But Tattvamasi Shvetaketo, Tat means Aitadatmyam Tvam Asit Shvetaketo. That means you also have him as the God. You are not God himself. So please learn some humility. So it is a lesson in humility because he came with a lot of ahankara. Right? But again, that is what that is. That intellectual movement, whether it is Tattvamasi, Atatvamasi, is the Tat Aitadatmyam, because, is Sa Atma, the Sa is Pullinga, Tat is Napumsakalinga. So he is Paramatma, that you are, who is that? Is that Paramatma is in Pullinga? What is that? So all, if you go into it, it's a lot of things are there. So it is not like Bhakti movement just came out of nowhere and they didn't look at all these questions. There is a lot of things, intellectual pursuits behind all of these things. So these are all intellectual traditions. So we should look at, whole point is look at multiplicity of traditions within Indian philosophy. There's so many, Bauddha, Jaina, right, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, all of these things are multiplicity of traditions, right? If it is one uniter, who is that one uniter? Vedavyasa. Right? If there is doubt, go to Vedavyasa. If you don't want to go to the Acharya, go to Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa is the uniter. He is the one that has created. All of the Acharyas have to interpret Brahma Sutra to become the school of thought. Right? Advaita cannot become Advaita without interpreting Brahma Sutra. Dvaita cannot become Dvaita without interpreting Shri Vishishtadvaita cannot be Vishishtadvaita without showing the Vishishtadvaita thought in Brahma Sutras. Everybody has to show their thought as Vyasa. Oh, Vyasa told this, and therefore this is right. Nobody is saying I told this, so it is right. Nobody. Everybody is saying why Vyasa told this, and this is the what I am telling. Right? So that is, if there is one uniter in all of Vedanta for this age, because Vedavyasa is still there, but Vedavyasa was in our in the previous yuga, right? Dwapara yuga. So that means he and his Shishyas made all of this so that it is, if you want to learn, it is there in one bundle. This is what, if it was not in the bundle, we will be fully even more confused. If even with this, everything bundled, everything packaged, still everything is divided. Just imagine if there was nothing there, or it was so fragmented that people would not be able to unite everything and think of that one philosophy that comes out of that. Then you will all be divided, right? So my problem with just naming an acharya or naming one tradition or all of those things is no, that is not the truth. The truth is that we had multiplicity of acharyas, and it's not like one was highly intellectual, other was no. Everything was highly intellectual. Even today, if you go, there are debates taking place. There are debates about Vishaya Vakyas and all of those things that's going on today, and which is a healthy thing. And that's what the Upanishad also says. Aranyor nihito jata veda garbhahiva subhruto garbhini bihi. That we, in the next couple of... did we even start the mantra? So I was actually supposed to go to that one. Right? So I'll just give you a glimpse of what that mantra says. See, in the Brhati Sahasra, what you remember how we generated the fire for Brhati Sahasra Homa? Right? Arani Mathana, right? So that means the fire that is the purest fire is one that comes out of the friction of these two the wood sticks. That's called Arani sticks, Arani Mathana. Adhara agni, Uttara Arani and Adhara Arani. So those up and down, so that they'll do this, the friction, and from friction they'll have some dry grass, and then the fire comes, and then fire is taken, and then that's a very important fire. And I don't know, I think most of you came, right? You all came to that Homa. When that was generated, and I had the mic, I actually chanted this mantra from this Upanishad. Aranyor nihito jataveda garbhaiva sabruto garbhini bihi. That mantra, and the context is, it talks about these two sticks. Why does it talk about this? It is talking about these things. Those two sticks, one is the Guru, Uttara Arani, the other is the Shishya. And this friction is what? It is this interaction. When you say ask a question, or I ask a question,
It generates heat.
It generates the light.
Heat and fire.
Heat is important. Without heat, will there be fire? The light, right? So that means the heat has to be there for the light to appear. And light is knowledge. For that light, the friction, heat should be there. Right? So that Upanishad says, how does that agni, which is the knowledge of Paramatma, how is that generated? Not by sitting in one place, not by brooding oneself. Eventually it will happen, but where does that go? It is through the debate. Guru Shishya debate. Guru Upadesha, Guru Shishya debate. That means we don't have a concept of simply accepting things. Krishna himself says what? Pariprashnena sevaya. Pranipatena tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Krishna says to Arjuna, know that knowledge, how? Pranipatena, to falling at the feet of the Guru, seva, pariprashnena, asking questions again and again, questioning everything, debating, challenging and all of those things, sevaya. Right? So, pranipata, pariprashna, seva. Pranipata is bhakti, pariprashna is jnana, intellectual, and seva is seva, karma. So these three should come together. And the Arani Mathana is that intellectual. So that means never take anything without questioning or challenging that. Challenging is built into our system. And that's why we always keep debating each other, right?
That's why we don't have dogma. I mean, Christianity is all dogma.
It's accepting, right? It's accepting. No guru can say, I'm telling, of course today they might say, I'm Kalki Avatar, so please accept, that they'll say
I
that.
think it has reduced in India to some extent, that challenging and questioning.
And that is a problem.
Yeah, that is the
Challenging,
big problem.
yeah.
Like we have stopped.
If you ask questions, you'll be trolled.
Exactly, right? And
YouTube, the question is not
yeah.
Question issue.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. Questioning is inherent in the Hindu Dharma. So we should say it is adharmic to not question and adharmic to accept things as they are without questioning. I mean, you can accept the same thing after questioning, but again, there's disrespecting and questioning are two different things. You can respectfully ask questions. That's also there. But the thing that is what and Upanishad. If you look at Ishavasya Upanishad says that questioning is inherently the only means, because it says the what is that? This is my favorite mantra. Suddenly you will forget it. See, that is why I don't control it. See, I have to think like this, and circuits have to fire, which is not in my thing, right? Andantama pravishanti ye avidyam upasate bhuva ivate tamo yau vidyayam rataha anyadevahur vidyaya anyadevaru avidyaya iti shushruma dhiraha nastad yad vichachakshire vidyamsta avidyamsha yattad veda ubhayam saha avidyaya mrutyam tirtva vidyaya amrutam ashnute. 3 mantras. I would say this is the most beautifully, every university should have this as their core of philosophy. What he's saying is, knowledge by itself is actually going to lead you to damnation. Let's say to andhakara, ignorance. Knowledge is ignorance. Where have you? Does it make sense? Knowledge is ignorance. Love of knowledge is ignorance, right? Andhantama pravishanti, they enter andhantamas, ye avidyam upasate. So those who follow ignorance, they are naturally going to andhantamas. Bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyayam rataha. Those who are rejoicing in knowledge, they go to greater tamas. Does it make sense? Krishnan, does it make sense?
Rejoicing in knowledge.
Knowledge, those who are knowledge.
Ahankar.
Knowledge comes under.
Huh?
I know.
Huh? See, even you are saying, it cannot happen, it might be some other meaning you are thinking, right?
Yeah.
Just take like that. Bhuya vete ye tamo, ya vidyayam rataha. Those who are rejoice in knowledge, they go to greater hell. Basically, it's talking like that. Andhan tamas means, let's say it's hell. Ignorance go to hell. Intellectuals go to greater hell. It's basically saying that.
You don't apply the knowledge without.
No, it's again.
They know everything.
Then in the end, it will solve this, and that's what we are. Great wise people have told us. Anyadevahur vidyaya, anyadahur avidyaya. So knowledge has a separate thing that it does for us. Ignorance has a certain things that it does to us, that we have learned from our elders who have told us. Vidyam cha avidyam cha yastad veda ubhayam saha. We need to learn knowledge with ignorance, because with ignorance we transcend limitation. With knowledge we gain eternity. So that means ignorance has a play in knowing. That means what it says, like it comes back to like, if you stick to one, you will be more confused, right? So you will be more confused than a certain person who, and more dangerous than the person who doesn't know anything. See, not knowing one thing is more dangerous than not knowing anything. Basically, if I kind of paraphrase what he's saying, what Upanishad is saying is, knowing one thing is more dangerous than not knowing anything, right? Our elders have taught us that not knowing has its effect on us, knowing has an effect on us. This is what the elders have told. Those who know and also know ignorance, together they are the ones that understand. Basically saying, that means you should know many perspectives. Why? Because this arani mathana between these perspectives, if there's one, where is the debate? So knowledge arises in a debate, and debate arises in multiple perspectives. So it is very, very important to preserve multiple perspectives.
At the end of the day, you'll just understand multiple perspectives. You may not agree because your perspective is different,
Exactly.
but you will at least know the other.
Exactly. If you know one perspective, you really don't know. That means, that's why it's Upanishad says, a person who knows one perspective is very, very dangerous than person doesn't know anything. Because if you know one thing, you are like very dangerous.
Potentially
Misapply. You always misapply, right? Because there's so many perspectives and all of those things. But ignorant person can be taught. But person who knows one thing, you can never teach him. That's why it's more dangerous, right? But there's a person, so you should inherently know that knowledge is multi-perspective. And it is in the debates among these multiple perspectives that real knowledge arises. Never stifle this. So why is Indian civilization multiplicity? Because of this fact. Without multiplicity, there is never going to be knowledge. So now, the job for us is how do you preserve multiplicity and also attain the oneness? That is a challenge. That is something we have to.
Unity in diversity.
Yeah, unity. Basically, that's what it is. Unity in diversity. But do not wipe the diversity to get the unity.
There's a common thread. You have to connect the scriptures and all.
Common thread. Yes.
You individual practices are different. You can still do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to do.
That
It has to be.
thread has to be strengthened.
Yeah. And even if you look at and there was a question about Panchayatana Puja, right? Shankara, he supported. There was 5 at the time of Shankara. There's 5 traditions. You have Vaishnava, Shaiva, Shakta, and then Ganapatya, Saura. Right? So Vaishnava, Vishnu, then Shiva traditions, Shakti traditions, Ganapatya, Ganesha tradition, and then Saura, sun tradition. Right? So sun worship was huge in Persia and Mesopotamia and all of those places. A lot of sun worship was there. So then what happened? So Shankara's job is to what? Shankara had the same problem. What was his problem? To take on Bauddha, you have to unite our own. Now to unite our own, you have to come up with a concept to unite everything. So the Panchayatana Puja is not an old concept. It's Panchayatana Puja is like bringing the traditions together and giving equal thing to all this one, all the tradition. Like if you, I don't know if they do it now. I think they still probably do it. So they would have Shivalinga, they would have Vishnu, and they would have Ganesha, and they would have Shakti, and they have Surya. So they do all the worships, and so it was called Panchayatana Puja. So that was there, and because of that, that was like bringing together of the traditions. So there are a lot of historical reasons of what things have happened. Sociologically, it might be good. Philosophically, it might not be valid. So there are so many things. So what I'm saying is, do not judge anything on anybody based on just our one understanding of this. You have to judge based on historical necessities and how this happened. Is a Vedanta saying this and all of those? So all of these things has to be there before we can judge. And again, this is our gathering stage. This is our Shravana stage. Then Manana stage comes. We have to think and reflect on this, and then Dhyana stage will come. So what is the truth? We don't know yet. We are gathering in the information gathering stage, right? So once you gather information, then you come to the conclusion after that. But the problem is when people already start with the conclusion, right? It's like I already know what is true, right? But let me tell you all the reasons why this should be true. Because I'm already convinced what is right. So nobody is going with open question. Oh, I want to find out what is right. It's saying, I know what is right. So let me tell you the reasons why all this is right. right? So then that is not Shravana. That is, you already come to Nischaya. So you cannot come to Nischaya until you have actually studied, weighed the different concepts, and that is the reason why multiplicity of thought is required. Multiple traditions is required. You need all of the, the Shed Darshanas, you need the Shed Darshanas, you need Bauddha, you need Jaina, you need Charvaka, and you need within Uttara Mimamsa, you need Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Advaita, Advaita, whatever, all the things are there.
And you need atheism also.
You need, that's what I said, Charvaka, you need, because within these perspectives, because each one has, Charvaka is a very important argument. See, the Charvaka, it is very important, and I actually found out when I was reading Dawkins' book. You know Richard Dawkins, right? You know Richard Dawkins. So he's an atheist, a very prominent atheist. He doesn't call himself atheist because that means he's like negating God, but he's an English guy. So what? He's English guy, right? He's English guy, yeah.
I think he does call himself an atheist.
Does he call himself atheist? Yeah. Somebody doesn't call himself atheist. I think he passed away. I forgot his name.
Christopher Hitchens.
Hitchens, yeah, he was also there. See, they have there is a valid argument. Not everything they say is valid, but there are arguments that's very much valid. Charvaka has very valid. See, if you look at it, if within all of the darshanas, they say there are only 3 valid sources of knowledge. If you come to Vedanta, it's 3 valid. What is Pratyaksha, Anumana, Agama? So you learn by experience, you learn by logic, reasoning, all of those things, and then things that are not physically inaccessible to us, we learn through Agamas, Shastra. Right? So these are the only 3 ways of learning. There's no 4th way of learning. There's only 3 ways of learning. Now, Buddha said, no, Agama, we don't accept Agamas. We only think experience and logic is the only thing. Science is also the same thing, right? Science and Buddhism, everything is the same. It's Pratyaksha and Anumana. But if you go to Charvakas, they don't take Anumana. Pratyaksha is the only valid pramana. Anumana can also be broken. And they give the reasons, and it's fantastic. And because, see, that's the argument in the West of deduction versus induction. So what these guys, what Charvaka say, induction is the only valid, deduction is not valid. Which means, see, in the reasoning, one of the arguments of reasoning is, I see smoke, therefore I deduce that there is fire. And they say, it is because there is a connection, irreplaceable connection between fire and smoke. Whenever I see smoke, I see fire, and therefore there is always a connection. Therefore, when I see smoke, I see fire. So this is the logical arguments that if you look at Nyaya, this is the logical argument of a logic. Anumana pramana is like this, in this nature, right? I see smoke, then I deduce fire. But then they say, no. How do you know that they are always connected? Can you prove to me that there cannot be a smokeless fire or a fireless smoke? These days we can have fireless smoke. Smoke without fire. Right? So now where is your deduction? That whenever there is a smoke, there is a fire. Your deduction fails. Right? And your deduction is based on what? Induction. Because I, in my experience, have seen smoke always when there is a fire. Therefore, I deduce, because I make it it always happens. And therefore, I use that as my deductive logic. So, all of your deductive logic is on the foundation of induction. But if you look at Western philosophy, there's a whole thing about induction and deduction. What is reliable? Western philosophy and today's Western science is built on deductive logic's supremacy, including math. Math, of course.
Essentially based on that.
Yeah, deductive math is based, deductive logic, right? So deductive logic. So if you look at any Western philosophy, go to any university, math and science, deduction is the highest pedestal. And who they show? They go over to Euclid geometry, right? Oh, Euclid. The whole ideal of deductive logic comes from Euclid geometry, right? So, which is also, there's no person called Euclid and all of those things are there. But
science is based on proving everything false. Like they will say that like, hey, so something is on this. It's all based on what they know also, right? Like,
yeah, but everything is deduction, right? So if I deduce, oh, I see sunrise every morning, sunset in the evening, therefore I deduce that today also there's going to be sunrise and sunset. As long as that works is fine. But there will be one day when there will be no sunrise. That where that connection is broken. Right?
So that's why they say science, some things can be proven false, but nothing can be proven true. That is the...
That came later on.
Yeah.
So until then, deductive logic was, if you deduce, then you are on the firm footage. Yeah. Now, if you look at science, science is until proven false. They have the falsity argument now,
yeah,
right? You have to, right? And so that is the most important. Falsity argument is the most important argument that came later on. But even if you go before, it's not percolated in the society. Now, falsity argument is still science is based, in the popular mind, deduction is the highest, induction is not. But they don't understand, which like the Charvakas understood, that deduction comes from induction. Right? If you cannot connect the fire and the smoke through every experience, if there is once the same whole argument of black swan, what is a black swan event? That means that which you cannot deduce, that which happened in surprise, right? Because and they came to all swans that were in Europe or what the Europeans saw were always white. So they says all swans are white. All swans that we saw were white, therefore all swans are white. Until they went to Australia and they saw a black swan. So one adverse case can break all of your deductions. That is a black swan event, is that? Right? So that is why they said, no, that deduction cannot, you cannot just come say, this is, because what is the proof that it's always going to be true? Right? So Charvaka said that eons ago. Therefore, they don't accept Anumana. And they gave the reasons for Anumana, not accepting Anumana. That because induction could fail. Right? So, that perspective you have to agree with Charvakas. I completely agree with Charvakas because this was fantastic. That yes, they brought the focus on logic is, and that is the reason why if you have to understand West in that way. West keeps logic first, experience next. Did you know that? Logic is first, experience comes next. For us, experience is first. Logic is anumana. In Sanskrit, anu means follower. Anusarati iti anumanam. Manam anusarati iti anumanam. So logic is true as long as it's supported by experience. That is why it is anumana. So logic cannot be supreme than experience. Logic cannot break experience. Because logic is built on experience. See, that fire and smoke are always connected is based on what? Your experience. But in the cases where that's broken is based on what? Your experience. So your whole logic is built on experience. How can logic dispute experience? Cannot. Right? So if you look at the way West does and way Indian does. So Indian math was experiential. Western math is logical. So there's a Professor C.K. Raju. You need to look him. He's a little crazy guy, but in some things he's fantastic because how, like for example, how calculus was done in India. It's an experiential based learning, and so he built the math. Indian math is called what? Ganita. What does Ganita mean? Counting. And if you go to a kindergarten math lesson, where does your math start from? Where do the kids' math start from?
Arithmetic.
No, but where does it start from? First topic of arithmetic is what? Counting. Number counting. Right? So number counting is first, and then addition is counting together. subtraction is removing, multiplication is repeated adding. So basically everything could be reduced to counting. So math is nothing but counting. It is just more sophisticated. Addition is a little sophisticated count. Multiplication even more sophisticated. So if you go again up and up and up, then it's all counting done in a most sophisticated way. And then same thing, right? Calculus and all of those things. See, if you look at the Western, it's all about straight lines. Triangles were straight lines and all of this. Even Descartes, I think Descartes said that you cannot measure a curved line because you have to measure straight lines, and then there are so many. It's curved, so you need to have so many straight lines. So it is an infinite task. You cannot measure a curved line. But in India, our geometry box had a thread. And it was called Sulabha. This is something called a Sulabha Sutras. So our math was thread math. It was called thread math. And what was it about? It says, if you want to measure a curved line, you use a thread around the curved line, and then that gives you the measurement of the curved line. So it's like, so that is a common sense approach of experience to logical thinking about, it's curved, so I have to do this, all of those things. And calculus is what? Measurement of curves. That's it. So if you look, you need, that's all of it's the way all of these things have evolved in India, and how it's evolved in West is completely different. And the Indian approach is a very commonsensical approach. But again, it's nobody teaches it. But hopefully someday it will happen. But so I think I have gone on for boom. Arani mantra, 1 second.